Arizona woman indicted for first-degree attempted murder after allegedly poisoning husband's coffee. In the quiet suburbs of the Phoenix metro area, a shocking story has grabbed headlines. Melody Felicano Johnson, an Arizona woman, faces grave charges after a grand jury indicted her for first-degree attempted murder. Authorities say she tried to kill her husband by slipping poison into his morning coffee. This case sends chills through local communities. It highlights the hidden dangers that can lurk in everyday routines. We break down the indictment details, the alleged poisoning method, and what Arizona law means for her future. We'll also look at the relationship behind the scenes and the science that could seal her fate. The Melody Felicano Johnson indictment, case overview. The grand jury in Maricopa County handed down the indictment against Melody Felicano Johnson on serious grounds. She faces first-degree attempted murder, a charge that points to clear intent to end a life. This happened in Arizona, where such cases demand swift justice from local courts. The severity stands out. Poisoning a spouse isn't just a family fight, it's a calculated act that prosecutors treat as deadly serious. Johnson's case now moves forward in the Maricopa County Superior Court system. Timeline of events leading to arrest and indictment. The trouble started back in late 2022. Johnson's husband grew sick after drinking coffee she made. He sought help from doctors, who spotted odd symptoms that screamed foul play. By early 2023, police stepped in after the husband reported his fears. They launched a probe that lasted months. The grand jury reviewed evidence in mid-2023 and issued the indictment, marking a key step toward trial. This timeline shows how suspicion turned into action. What began as a health scare ended with handcuffs. Now, the full story waits for court dates. The alleged poison and method of delivery. Reports point to ethylene glycol as the poison in question. That's the stuff in antifreeze, sweet-tasting and easy to mix into drinks. Johnson allegedly added it to her husband's coffee, a daily habit that made the act seem routine. Why coffee? It's personal and trusted. A sip here could build up harm over time without raising alarms right away. This choice hints at planning, as experts note poisons like this need careful dosing to avoid quick detection. The method raises red flags. It turns a simple brew into a weapon. If proven, it strengthens the case for intent in court. Initial police investigation and evidence collection. Cops arrived at the Johnson home soon after the tip. They interviewed the husband, who shared his routine and growing doubts about his wife. Melody Johnson also spoke, but her words didn't match the facts. Forensic teams swept the place. They grabbed coffee grounds, mugs, and even trash for tests. Labs later confirmed traces of the poison, tying it to the scene. This early work built the foundation. Without solid evidence, the case might have fizzled. Instead, it pushed the grand jury to act fast. Understanding first-degree attempted murder in Arizona law. Arizona law draws a hard line on crimes like this. First-degree attempted murder falls under ARS 13 to 1105. It requires proof of a plan to kill plus steps taken toward that goal. The charge isn't light. It treats the act as equal to murder in many ways. Courts here aim to protect victims from such threats. Elements required for an attempted murder conviction. Prosecutors must show intent. That means Johnson meant to cause death, not just harm. Her actions had to be a clear step forward, like mixing the poison. Arizona courts look for mens rea, or guilty mind. Without it, the charge drops. But evidence of planning often seals the deal. Think of it like loading a gun. You can't claim accident if you aimed it. This case seems to fit that mold based on reports. Potential sentencing range and penalties. If convicted, Johnson could face 10 to 25 years in prison. As a Class 2 felony, it carries heavy fines too, up to $150,000.
Aggravating factors, like using poison, might add more time. Arizona treats domestic attempts harshly. Parole comes slow, and lifetime monitoring could follow release. The goal? To deter others from similar paths. Penalties hit hard to send a message. No one walks away easy from a charge this big. Precedent for poisoning cases in domestic contexts. Arizona has seen cases like State versus Christensen, where poison led to murder charges in a family feud. Those rulings stress premeditation. Juries often side with evidence over excuses. In another instance, a spouse in Tucson faced similar heat for tampering with meds. The outcome? A long sentence that set a tone. Johnson's team will study these to build defense. These examples show courts don't mess around. Poison in the home draws extra scrutiny every time. Motivation and context, examining the relationship dynamics. What drives someone to this? Public files hint at strains in the Johnson marriage. Money woes and arguments piled up, per court notes. Prosecutors paint a picture of escalating tension. But details stay thin to protect the case. We can only go by what's out there. This backdrop adds layers. It turns a simple charge into a story of broken trust. Statements from legal representatives, prosecution/defense. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office called the act chilling premeditation. They vow to prove every element in trial. We protect families from inside threats, a spokesperson said. Johnson's lawyer entered a not guilty plea. He claims the evidence lacks proof of intent. My client deserves a fair shot, he told reporters outside court. These words set the battle lines. Each side fights for the narrative that sways the jury. Signs of marital distress or pre-existing conflict. Records show past calls to police over fights. No violence reported then, but tension simmered. Financial stress, like debts, often fuels such rifts. One neighbor mentioned hearing raised voices. Court docs cite custody worries if kids were involved, though none are named. These signs point to a home on edge. It's common in these cases. What starts as words can twist into something darker. The role of substance tampering in domestic violence statistics. The DOJ reports over 10 million U.S. domestic cases yearly. Poisoning makes up a small but scary slice, about 1 to 2% involve tampering. Arizona sees higher rates in metro spots like Phoenix. CDC data links it to control tactics. Victims often face slow harm, delaying help. Johnson's story fits this grim trend. Stats remind us, these aren't isolated acts. They reflect bigger issues in relationships. Key stat, 1 in 4 women face severe partner violence, DOJ. Poison cases spike in stressed homes. Awareness saves lives, spot the signs early. Forensic investigation and expert witness testimony. Science often decides these trials. Experts dig into samples to uncover truth. In Johnson's case, labs played a starring role, and coffee samples. The husband's blood showed ethylene glycol levels. That's enough to cause organ failure if unchecked. Coffee residue matched, per lab tests. Medical examiners noted that the dose was high, aimed at harm. Timing linked symptoms to the brew. No accident here, they say. These findings hit hard in court. They turn maybe into yes. Digital forensics. Search warrants hit Johnson's phone and computer. Text showed odd queries on poisons. Emails about buying antifreeze popped up too. Toxicologists testify on purpose. They explain how coffee hides the taste.
Melody Johnson stares down first-degree attempted murder after allegedly poisoning her husband's coffee. The indictment from Maricopa County lays out a tale of trust shattered by poison. Evidence from labs and timelines builds a strong prosecutorial case. This story underscores the weight of Arizona's laws on intent and harm. Penalties loom large, reflecting society's stand against domestic threats. Forensic details and relationship strains add depth to the drama. Hiberka. As trial nears, the community watches close. A verdict will close this chapter. Stay informed. Cases like this remind us to cherish safe homes. Brew, what can you do? Talk openly in tough spots. Seek help early. Justice here might spark change for others.